Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, traders. Steve here at Logic FX Trading, and welcome to a trading room summary on Tuesday, the 21st of April 2020. As you can see, guys, we've opened with the West Texas oil crude oil chart, and what I had said over the last few days was that since oil had broken that level, that we could see it drop as low as $10 a barrel, but it went below zero. This obviously is only registering to zero. But the one thing you got to remember, guys, this is oil futures that dropped, that no one wanted, purely and simply because West Texas oil futures, you've got, once the contract's up, you've got to actually take possession of the oil. And no one wanted to take possession of the oil purely and simply because it's going to cost them more to store the stuff at the moment than what it is to have it now. Obviously, the new futures contracts have opened up today, which probably reflects the true value of a barrel of oil, which is back to $20, folks. So excuse me, the massive drop has actually ended up with oil being further up. Now, if you go and look at your own brokerage charts, guys, the chances are this didn't happen. The chances are prices were still up around here somewhere. I know on eToro, which is one of the brokerage sites that I use, oil did not drop like this on there. Obviously it came down, but it didn't actually break the bottom. Obviously this has put pressure under all the oil producers. The CAD, America's a major oil producer, but it's got more to its economy than just oil. So the dollar's staying high because it's a safe haven. But the CAD, the Russian ruble, and the Norwegian krona all have been dropping since this happened, guys. Hopefully they will also recover because I'm long in a few of them. But I think the oil will recover, not in a hurry, but it will hang around up here for a while and then start to recover as we get out of coronavirus. I just don't think that. I know that will happen, but it's about when it happens. That's possibly the big drop. It's done and dusted now. I don't think this will now start to, go down again. It could do. It could repeat what happened there, not and do that, but just repeat it and drop again. But I'm just wondering that the fact that they've opened it back up there again kind of signals to me that drop is done. I could be wrong on that, guys, so I'm not suggesting you jump in and start trading oil long. But from a point of view of the currencies, potentially the downside has been done and dusted. And over the next few days, we may see a recovery in those. Hopefully. Now, the other side of the coin is, does this trigger a sell-off in the stock markets, which was what I had been looking for. I was actually drew these the other day where I said we may get a bit more upside, but eventually we'll get a drop. Obviously, when you zoom out of these a little bit, guys, you can see the reason why I drew it the way I did. When you zoom back in, it looks a little bit exaggerated, but nonetheless, we have had a little pullback overnight on the Chinese. Is this the start of the drawdown? Now, I don't know the answer to that, guys, but I certainly wouldn't be trying to trade this long at the moment. Nikkei's done the same thing. The Aussie's done the same thing. Not as obvious, but the German has had a drawdown as well. The French, it's drawn down off the tops, and this is what we had been looking for. We don't know if we're going to get another big correction, guys, as we start to get earnings coming through. Some of the earnings may have already been priced in on the initial drop. But if we're going to go into recession, guys, the chances are we are going to get another drawdown. I don't know if this is the start of it or not, but maybe, just maybe, it is. The UK, same thing. We've been drawing here in the trading room that they seem to have been going sideways over the last few weeks, or not seem to have, they have been going sideways for the whole of this month. Nasdaq, obviously, it continued to go long this month, but I was talking about this dropping, all of this squiggles, just to do with repeating what I've been saying, folks. Let me just clean some of that for you. Now, our alarm yesterday was a lot tighter. As we said, it would continue to drop. The alarm looked like that yesterday, and it has continued to drop. I would say there's more downside to this. And then it's just a case of deciding whether you're going to take a little profit on it, or whether, if it goes short, or whether you're going to just put your stop to zero and see if we get a bearish market, or a bear market, not bearish, a bear market. In other words, this is just a zigzag pullback before we get the next one down, guys. I don't know, but I suspect that we could be looking at something like that. Dow Jones, potentially the same thing, guys. Certainly hasn't been going up this month with any of the vigor that we had back there. And if you go back to, well, prior to April, when we got this breakout, I did say we're looking for a pullback to push up, and we'll see from there whether it turns out to just be a correction of that move before we get another move down, which obviously could stop at the previous lows before starting to come back up again, or whether that turned out to be the start of a third wave up. I don't think that's what it is, guys. I think we're going to get a bit more downside to this, and could come all the way back down to there, and it could break the bottom, but the high probability thing would be that it would only hit previous lows and then start to come long again. But in the meantime, it's got to get from here to there. So I've taken a short on this. I've got my stop to zero. We'll see what happens with it, guys. If it comes back up, I've lost nothing. As far as the dollar is concerned, I think the dollar is going to stay high. This is what we drew the other day. I've just cleaned it up a little bit. I'm not convinced that it's necessarily going to go back up to those previous highs, but certainly it could range up here because of its safe haven aspect, guys. So you can plug that into what you're looking at over here. What we have had today, based on the oil moving, is we've had this on the ruble, and not entirely sure the reasoning behind it, other than the fact that the South African rand is pants, and we have forecasted to come up to 20 to 1 to break that. It may only get to there and then come off it, guys. We don't know, but I suspect it will get up to the 20s, and it started to move again today. I've caught this 2 or 3 times this week, there, and a minute again. What else can we look at while we're here? Well, obviously then, if the stock markets go short, then the likes of the yen will continue to go down. Here. And here, well, not necessarily this one, but this. CAD yen will continue to go short. Unfortunately, I am long in this. I was hoping that it was going to go long from there. So we're keeping our fingers crossed that it doesn't break down through my stop loss. New Zealand yen continuing to drop. New Zealand CAD's a different thing. New Zealand Swiss should continue to drop if the stock markets drop, folks. CAD Swiss will drop if the stock markets continue to drop. It's already dropping because of the oil price. I'm hoping we just get a zigzag and then it starts to go long, because I was expecting it to go long here. And then just a new one for me is this Norwegian Swedish krona. I haven't traded it before, but because we had that massive drop, I'm kind of thinking, well, that has to be the bottom. We may get a bit more of a zigzag correction on this, but I don't expect it to get back to the bottom. I expect it to at least range here and maybe even slowly but surely get back to previous levels, folks. Okay, that'll do it for today. I don't think I've forgotten anything there. That's what we were looking at today, obviously in much more detail in the trading room. Speak to you all again tomorrow. Bye for now.